I'm tired.
Hello, and welcome to the EuroWhat, episode number 53 for the week of May 20th, 2019. I'm Ben Smith, and I'm joined today by Mike McComb. Hey, Mike.
Hello.
And our special guest, André Durham. Hey, André.
Howdy, how are y'all?
Good. The three of us are a bunch of Americans trying to make sense of the Eurovision Song Contest, and this week we will be wrapping up Eurovision 2019. Pack up the streamers, everybody. Take down your various national flags. We're done.
Yay.
And in settles the post-Eurovision depression.
Yes, yeah. It's a combination of like Eurovision depression, but also just being really happy I can take a nap.
Yeah. Yeah, I think my favorite tweet from this weekend was somebody saying that the most relatable lyric was from Germany with, "I'm tired."
I don't know. My favorite moment was when "It Hurts to Be Alive" popped up on screen. Somebody at my Eurovision party went, "Big mood."
Yeah.
Nice.
Where's the lie? All right. But welcome, Andre. Thank you for joining us for this week's episode.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
How did you get introduced to Eurovision?
Yeah, so the short of it is 2007, I was studying abroad in Denmark. And while I was there, I saw Dance Melody Grand Prix. And I was like, what is this weird thing? Oh, look, the drag queen that was eliminated now has won. I'm so confused. And my host family was like, oh, no, it's for this bigger thing. And I was like, okay. And then when the semifinal rolled around, I was like, oh, my God, this is the best thing in the world.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
That Friday between the two shows, I was actually souvenir shopping, and I heard the music playing on the speakers in the store. I ran to the guy at the front of the store. I was like, where did he get this CD? This is from Eurovision. Where is it? And he was giving me this like scared look. He's like, there's a store 2 blocks down. So I threw money at him, and then I sprinted, bought the CD, canceled my evening plans, and just spent the night listening to the 2007 CD over and over again. Yeah, and then just watching it, and then like that's when Serbia won, and for me that was the most perfect victor, both like for the contest and that year, and it was just like, yes, this is what I want to devote my life to. That's the short story.
Oh, awesome. Moldova is a good entry point
Yes.
for getting somebody into Eurovision. So.
For sure.
All right. So this past weekend, we found out this year's winner, and it was the Netherlands and Duncan Laurence with Arcade. He not only won the contest, he won the second semifinal. He got televote points from all the countries, and in the overall standings, he was second in the televote and third with the juries. So not a conclusive victory, but it's kind of on theme for this year, I guess, where it's just like, it just seemed like it was anybody's game. And
Yeah, like there was this delightful moment, like after the jury votes, from like anything can happen, and then the thing that was expected to happen happened. It was a little underwhelming.
I actually predicted that, the Netherlands is going to win, but they're not going to win either one. And everything was just all over the place this year. Like Norway won the televote? What the heck? Yeah, so I think Netherlands, it's not like Ukraine when it won kind of in the same way. It was kind of like, this feels like we need to have a discussion. Now it's like, yeah, this feels like a satisfactory winner, even though it didn't win either side of things.
Yeah, I think satisfactory is the right way to describe it for me. Like, like it's not that I hate the song. I just don't like it, or like I'm neutral about it.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like, I don't dislike the song. Like, the song is nice, but I felt like there were more dynamic, full presentations going on.
I will say the staging was poor. I think it's because Duncan doesn't have a very good stage presence. So there's like, here's a tiny piano, sit next to it, and don't worry about anything else. But this is actually my favorite song this year, so I was excited that it won.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that his final performance of it, like after he won, was better than their staging.
Yes, exactly. Me and my friend are saying the same thing. Why didn't they do this? Him alone on a black stage. Now that he's won, he has all the confidence. That's the thing.
In terms of other victories at the grand final, like we said, this was kind of all over the place. Sweden won the jury and had the most 12s from the jury. Andre, you mentioned that Norway won the televote, which I think was a little bit of a surprise for folks.
Yes.
It was, but like the second it happened, I'm like, cool, we're going to Norway, I'm fine with this. And then other points came in.
Yeah. Russia had the most 12s in the televote.
Not surprising.
North Macedonia finished in 8th, which is their best finish ever. And they almost won the jury.
2 points. Oh.
Well, I felt like the same way about them doing so well in jury the way I did about Austria last year.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Where like the second it started happening, I'm like, yes, I see why this song would appeal to juries.
Yeah.
And San Marino finished in 20th, which is their best finish ever. And they got 10th in the televote.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
But then you look at they only got 68 points because like the top 4 songs had all the points, and then everything else was just like pieces to everybody else. Wow. San Marino used to always complain about being like, oh, no one's gonna vote for us because we're so small, but clearly that's not the case. And historically, they always do better in the televote than the juries anyway.
Mm-hmm. At the party that we had, like we did like mock ballots and stuff, and I threw San Marino some points, so I was kind of happy about this. I thought the performance in the final was great. It's certainly like head and shoulders above the semifinal performance.
Yes.
So the thing that I was just gobsmacked by when it was happening, wherever Belarus was in the voting for the jury votes, there was still a bunch of stuff on the board that had 0 points.
Oh, yeah.
And then all of a sudden, a lot of the things that had 0 points no longer had 0 points, including Israel. Israel suddenly had 12 points on the board from Belarus, and that felt majorly sketchy.
That was sketchy for a lot of people, particularly like since they did not give Russia any
Yeah, they
points.
gave Russia nothing, and that is like, you can set your watch to that, is that they're going to give Russia points.
Pretty much.
Like we discussed this last episode, that their jury had been relatively loose-lipped, and as a result, the EBU was like, nope, you guys are dismissed. We're going to use aggregate, and no one actually knows how the aggregate algorithm works. We can kind of guess, and that's how we know that something was awry, because someone on Twitter was like, I did the math, and here's what the math says. And it turns out that they probably gave out the points in the reverse order. Like they should have given they gave the bottom ones points. So Israel actually got 0 points from the Belarusian jury, which kind of stings more.
A lot of people are speculating that they gave the wrong points. I think they gave the correct points, and that's part of the punishment for being dismissed as a jury.
Oh.
I could see there being a situation where, like, there's already enough gamesmanship happening with the jury voting, where with a clever enough strategy, you may want to purposefully have your jury get disqualified so that the aggregate ends up delivering points in a specific way. I haven't had a chance to fully flesh out this conspiracy theory, but
but this,
like,
this feels very complicated for.
Well, part of the issue is we have no idea how the aggregate works. When they introduced it in 2016, everyone was like, well, how are they going to calculate it? EBU. We're not going to tell you that. He's just going to do it from the pots? EBU. We're not going to tell you that. It's like, give us something. Throw us a bone. And, the guy from Twitter, at EuroBruno, good to give credit where credit's due. Like, he used the other countries from the same pot from Belarus during the semifinal draw, but who's to say that's how they did the aggregate, right?
Mm-hmm. It is a mystery.
I mean, that would make sense just based on how those pots are developed, because it's based on like voting history and relationships, just to kind of break up any potential block voting. It's very intriguing, but at the same time, like, I totally agree with what you were saying, Ben, where it's just like, it does seem like a little bit of shade to just be like, all of the people who are like not getting points anyway.
Very sketchy. That all that like, it felt like they were saving face that nobody got a null point, and then Germany got 0 in the televote.
Oh, that was on the host. She was like, "Oh, Germany, I'm so sorry." Moving on. Like, anytime someone got like a low amount, there's like, let's not dwell on this and try to move on. Which I don't know how I feel about that.
Well, also, I mean, they were running over. They were running massively over.
Perhaps having 20 interval acts, that may have something to do with that.
Well, and like when the show started, I was like, oh, yeah, they have so many interval acts, but everybody's getting like a minute, and it's part of medleys, so it's not going to be that long. And then the second the votes start, I'm like, yeah, we're going to be here until like 7:05, and that's about when we were done.
Yeah, it was a bit insane. I remember the show used to be 3 hours, and people complained about that.
And Eurovision said, challenge accepted.
Christer Bjorkman said, challenge accepted.
Yep. But yeah, that's the grand final, and my favorite part of the grand final happening is that once we know who the winner is, we also know all of the data on the semifinals that has been locked away so that it doesn't influence the grand final voting.
Yes.
Looking at semifinal 1, Australia won overall. Iceland won the televote. I'm so happy that they won something. I had come to terms with the fact that Iceland was not going to win.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted like one country to throw them a douze point. That was all I wanted. Is I wanted like an on-camera douze point. I mean, we had a great moment with them when the points came in.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
But we'll get to that later. But just looking at the rest of semifinal 1, Iceland and Estonia got points from all countries. Which Iceland, I get it. Estonia, I do not.
Neither do I.
It is a great song for 2016. The Czech Republic won the jury and got points from everyone. And then just looking at who narrowly missed getting out of the basement, we were kind of speculating who was in 11th and 12th places. Poland was in 11th and missed qualifying by 2 points.
To Belarus.
Hungary was in 12th, but like Poland had 120 points overall between the televote and the juries. Mm-hmm. Hungary had 97. We did not have a chance of seeing Yossi Papai in the final.
Yeah. Semifinal 1 was so crazy because all the songs were kind of middle tier. And so it was really hard to kind of predict who was going to win. I heard a lot of chitter chatter about people being shocked that Cyprus was 9th in the semifinal. I thought the song was pretty derivative and not like as good as the other 2 derivative songs this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw Cyprus was 9th. I was like, yes, that checks. That checks with how I felt about it.
Based off of the song, based off the staging, that heinous outfit she had on. I still don't understand, kind of like what you were saying, Ben, that Estonia makes no sense. He sounded awful.
Yeah, he did not sound great semifinal 1 night.
It was one of my favorite moments of the entire contest when, as soon as he was done singing the last note, he did like a little mouth fart right into the microphone, just being like, oh, thank God this is over.
So just looking at the other numbers of the first semifinal, because some of them are wild. Finland was in last place. Finland had 23 points overall. Montenegro had 46 points, y'all. Montenegro had 46 points.
Which really, looking at how the score broke down, this was really a failing on my part this year. Like, I was not considering block voting or like who's friends with whom in a given semifinal.
Which is like the one thing that we're supposed to pay attention to as people who have no voting rights in this.
Right, yeah. But I mean, it's just like, but just completely forgetting. It's like, oh, right, Serbia and Slovenia are in this. That's free points right there. And it was silly to think that they would, number one, that they would get 0 points at all. Like, that was just foolishness on my part.
That was. And we call ourselves professionals, and yet we forget that we do not call ourselves professionals. We are amateurs who have been in the game too long.
Yeah.
I think Montenegro was really cute, and I think that was part of its appeal on top of, Serbia being there and Slovenia being there to help them out as well. But it was a really adorable entry, and they sounded miles better than they did 2 months ago. So
yeah, the vocals were better. I still think what they need to do as an act is there were just so many people on stage. Yes. Like, they should just done rock, paper, scissors for, okay, you 3 are on stage, you 3 are backing singers now. This is not BTS. I don't have attachments to any of these people.
I don't understand why they keep doing super groups. If you're not already a group, don't do it. It never ends well. It never ends well.
I don't know. They kind of reminded me of a bunch of people who are assigned the same hall in a dorm their freshman year, and they're just like, they just like travel in a herd for like the first 6 weeks of the semesters.
Yes, I get it now. I see it.
Yeah, but then like somebody suggested, hey, we should start a group, and they're just like, okay, and they never got out of the like, there are no bad ideas stage of like decision making. So like all of the ideas were on stage, and it's just like, ooh, you need to
yes,
take off 3 things before you leave the house.
You know what?
So-
I honestly, looking and listening to them, the thing that came to my mind was Mormon a cappella group. Like, this is like,
Oh
I'm
man,
at
that's
BYU
a
right
real
now.
strong move there. Yeah. No, this is just making me remember. So there's like a web video that's been going around for a while. This Finnish group, Army and Danny. Like, the video is bad, but it was made in 1979 when all music videos were bad. English is clearly not their first language. I was very surprised this wasn't somehow like a Eurovision also ran. Where, like, it's this song called I Want to Love You Tender. If you try to find it on YouTube now, you can't find the original because of how many Mormon remaking the videos there are. Like, you have to find,
That's
like,
so
page
random.
3 to find the original video.
Why?
The Mormons is why.
Like, why do they like it so
Because-
much?
I have no clue. Let's see.
wow.
Looking at the other ones that didn't make it through Portugal, we've previously discussed how I like that song,
Yeah.
but it felt like that whole package was a very tough sell.
Yes, I agree.
Georgia, I'm disappointed that they're in 14th. I was really hoping they were the 11th place.
Okay.
'Cause I thought that they really improved that performance from where it started.
Yes. Did either of you feel like it was like a Disney villain song, even though it's supposed to be inspirational? But if
Oh.
you watch it, it just
Yeah, like I can get that energy from it. Yeah.
it's all dark and fire everywhere. He has these 5 like shadows behind him singing ominously.
Oh yeah, he's the villain. They're the henchmen. I get it.
Exactly.
Okay. Any other thoughts on semifinal 1?
Poor Belgium. He looked very scared and uncomfortable up on that stage.
Yeah, Belgium really needs to stop having that be
Their
their-
vibe.
Yeah, because like it almost didn't work in 2017. Like Blanche was
Yeah.
very lucky to make it to the final, and then last year it wasn't so much as Senek had stage fright, but it was just like no concept behind the performance.
Yeah, they need to find
and-
somebody to do the stage design who has vision.
and select a song that has maybe like 90% less ennui.
Yeah.
I'm thinking back to their 2016 entry, which was just so upbeat and so full of energy.
Oh, yeah.
And I would really like them to go back in that direction. And
I think a new broadcaster is taking over next
Yes,
year because
RT,
they
yeah.
like trade off responsibility for who's doing it. They've said they're going to continue doing internal selection, and selecting the artist seems to work well for them. But hopefully they will go in a little bit different direction song wise.
Mhm.
And hey, RTBF, if you're listening, we are available to hire to help you with all these problems.
We have staging ideas.
So many ideas: staging, song, artists. But yeah, and I know they want to win because Belgium's victory was the Walloon broadcaster. So the Flemish one, which is on the even years, is very much wanting to
Mm.
take the crown themselves at some point. And what better place to do it than in Netherlands?
Yeah, right next
Mhm.
door.
They're right there.
For semifinal 2, the Netherlands won overall.
Mhm.
Norway won the televote there as well. And Switzerland, Russia, Norway, and the Netherlands all got points from all the countries in that semifinal. That's kind of interesting. It almost seems like there's not enough points to go around to allow that to happen, but those 4 countries made it work. North Macedonia won the jury there, and Lithuania missed qualifying by a single point, which is kind of surprising, and Moldova only missed by 9.
Yes.
So I guess people weren't as outraged by the, I guess we could call it homage to Ukraine 2011.
Yeah. The presence of that backing like made it rise way more than I expected to when I was
Yes.
doing my final rankings.
Mm.
Even though I was like, this is very derivative, but you know what? It's better than just the song on its own.
Yes.
True.
Lithuania to me is just like Estonia, but better sung. I hate both songs, but I'm still a little surprised that failed where Estonia didn't, and maybe just because this was a stronger of the 2 semifinals, or maybe because Albania just jumped in there, and I was not expecting that song to qualify. I don't know. about
Oh, really?
y'all. Yeah, I mean, I love it, but to me it seemed a little too Albanian. Sometimes some of their songs kind of go a little too folksy. I didn't think the televotes would give it enough to help it come in. But I'm happy they did.
I'm a little sad that Ireland didn't finish with 22 points exactly. That'd been kismet. They finished with 16, which feels generous.
Yeah.
That was just a frustrating performance to watch.
She looks she looks scared and mechanical. Like, using her head, like, you know what she reminded me of? Someone with, like, a stage mother who just yelled at her right before she got on stage. Like, don't screw this up. She's like, and then she's like, okay, count 1, 2, 1, 2, and it's a fun song. That was a really fun staging, but again, it's like she was a robot.
Yeah, I mean, she never looked comfortable with that song. Like, in the music video for it, like everything about it just seemed like counting her steps, as you were saying.
The music video looked like they're like, oh crap, we have to turn this into the EBU tomorrow. Let's go to the beach.
Slap an Instagram filter on that. Go. I was shocked that Armenia was in. I figured Armenia was like 11th, and they're in 16th with like 49 points. Like, just no one resonated with that song.
Yeah, I don't know why. It seems like the kind of thing that would do well at Eurovision, right?
Yeah, it seems like the thing that does well, and like their staging of it, I thought was a great way to start the night.
Yeah, it's just it was followed by a lot of...
Followed by Ireland. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, from that first third, the only thing to qualify was Switzerland. And that was not a surprise.
Yeah.
No.
So.
And that performance was, oh boy, that was awesome.
I had multiple people who, when they got their bingo card, were like, why is Despacito on here? You'll see, it's like the FedEx arrow. And then it came out like, oh, that's why. Talked about how we were both sad that Croatia didn't make it, but looks like they were kind of firmly in the middle of the bottom.
Yes.
Which I thought that they did a good job with the staging of that. But alas.
I sometimes get the sense that Ben and I are like the lone defenders of that song, and I'm fine with that.
The song is pleasant. The staging, though, to me was just the golden wings and the flying angel. It was just too much.
I mean, like, Croatia doesn't know how to do subtle.
No, they don't.
And usually they're better about reining it in a way that works for them.
When was the last time we saw good staging from Croatia?
You raise an excellent point.
Thank you.
No, I think they did a great job with My Friend. I mean, it was the staging that I think pushed that song over the line.
That was the one where we joked, what are they going to do? Put him in a half tuxedo, half motorcycle jacket, and then they did put him in a half tuxedo, half motorcycle jacket.
And then had the amazing video displays where he's singing to himself. Like, it was...
That song freaks out people when I show them 2017. They're like, what am I watching?
Get someone who looks at you like Jacques Houdek looks at himself. So, yeah.
Hashtag relationship goals.
It turns out that Belarus's jury votes were not the only ones that were weirdly in reverse. It sounds like during the second semifinal, Lena Headey Lena, one of their jurors, did her votes in the wrong order because someone had noticed that like they were in the correct order for the final. So somebody quietly took her aside and was like, "Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Oh no."
Why are you giving points to Ireland? What's going on?
Did you mean to do this? Yeah.
Okay, so Romania, I get they were probably leaning hard into like the memes of like the horror story kind of look that they had in the music video too. But she looked like a New England school teacher from the 1800s. Like, what was she wearing?
Yeah, I mean, that's a scary look. Like,
is it?
But not for the reasons they wanted to be scary.
I mean, compared to her, she needed to be in something a little bit grander, given how over the top everything else was going.
She should have just worn what she had in the music video.
Yeah, given how small the stage was, it felt like they were using way too much of the space. Like, it needed to be a much more compact performance. They needed to do something to fill it out. And I think if she was wearing like something bigger or frillier, I don't know, like just having something to just fill that space so that you had so that you knew where to focus.
Less boxing
during that
dingy,
performance,
perhaps. Now, one of you really hates the Dana song, right?
I wouldn't say I hate it. It's just that it's soured for me over time.
Okay.
In that, like, what first felt like a refreshing sort of, this is nice and sweet, and we've had just a lot of stuff going on. But like over time, I'm just like, actually, no, don't get too political is just kind of the wrong tone. And like, yes, this is Eurovision, and Eurovision is not a political situation, but also y'all are in Israel this year, and it's been like a whole thing. Can you guys read the room?
Yeah, I get that. I feel like every other year, perhaps we have like a children's song, and so for me, this was just that. Like, oh, this is something nice for the kiddos in the room.
I thought the performance at the final was the best performance of that song.
Yes.
Yes.
I did not find the way that she went up the ladder to be at all natural. Like, just do not break eye contact as I take one step up each time. But I think it all came together in the end. But I'm still kind of disappointed that it made it into the final in the first place. But I do agree that having something for the kiddies is nice. So
Yeah.
I'm still kind of sad that there wasn't some way to stick them next to one another in the running order, so you could have had Love is Forever right next to Hatred Will Prevail.
yeah. Especially since you could sing them in the same cadence. So
Yeah. Yes. Stupid Kobe Marimi and your song being in 14. Oh yeah, like how do we feel about the final performances by the Big Five plus Israel?
So on my blog, Eurovision Obsession, I talked about how Israel is corny, self-important, self-serving song. And then a few songs later, you have France, which is the same thing, but fun. So I was like, see, Israel, this is how you do a self-important song that doesn't suck.
So I said something very mean at my Eurovision party about Israel. When they were going to the green room of footage of him, I was like, he had better be crying. Because he'd been on like the verge of tears at the end of his song. And they had mentioned like during like the awkward interviews during the semifinals that like, oh man, you've cried at every performance. I'm just like, wow, that's kind of mean to just air that laundry.
Yeah.
I want Kobe Marimi crying in 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay, so during the UK performance, when he hits that like the big note and you see those white beams, and then the 5 backing singers all dressed in white appear, did anyone else think this is like a covert like come to Jesus kind of moment?
I did say I forget if it was this one or another song where I mentioned to my friend that this felt like all of a sudden this became like a Hillsong worship number.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which, don't get me wrong, I'm very religious, but it's just
they're working very well in that space, but also this is the Eurovision Song Contest.
We're not supposed to be religious.
I was very disappointed during Germany's performance that during the main chorus that I did not have a visual to explain to people about the whole stock photo thing.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I had spent like the half hour where people were starting to arrive telling them about this whole German scandal thing, and then just nothing.
Yeah, I mean, like, really, they should have stuck with that because there was just
nothing.
There was nothing to that performance. I mean, like, they even looked like they were just dressed to be like, oh, yeah, I got to run to the store and stop off at Eurovision, do this thing, I'll be 15 minutes, and then we can go to the movies.
Well, no, and like, the problem was, is, like, they were focusing on the videos in the back, and the videos in the back were just sort of at a 5. And then you would cut to them singing live and just, like, belting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and I was also just really confused. It's like, wait, I like when it first showed up, I couldn't tell if it was them singing live, and it was just gonna be like, wait, this is gonna have some weird audio sync issues just with how video and sound work. But then realizing that it was like pre-taped, just like, that's it. Like, why are you doing this? So I don't think their nil point was unearned, but Germany's got to figure something out.
Well, I mean, they did announce that they're like, we're going to rethink what we do for 2020. Like, that seems smart.
Well, so last year they had a song about a father. This year, songs about sisters. I wanted Grandma, I Love You to next year, but I guess they're going to change that, yeah?
Spain, that was a fun performance. I liked seeing the various Instagram videos of acts, like, just having, like, a big conga line in the green room. Like, that was great, but also I kind of like that a little bit more than the performance they put together.
I don't understand why the juries hated Spain so much, because I thought it was so much fun, and I thought they did a pretty decent job with it, other than that random puppet thing, but...
that was there for 5 seconds, and you never saw it again.
What was the point of it?
Yeah, especially because I don't think they had it in the first rehearsal. That was something that was added at the second rehearsal.
Huh.
And, yeah, I do not know what that was supposed to add
just
to...
I'm just trying to think about the producer who's sitting there at the first rehearsal. Like, you know what this needs? A gigantic, terrifying puppet. That's what this song needs. I'm just going to keep painting this fresco, and it's going to be beautiful.
Yep.
I mean, we talk about Germany needing help, But I mean, Spain hasn't been in the top 10 since 2014, and they've not even like took a whiff of it lately. Like, what can they do to get on, the left-hand side of the board? Because I really thought this year was going to be it.
I thought so too. Yeah. I don't know if it's just like a political situation or just something in the air in Europe where they're just like not feeling what Spain's delivering, but it was very confusing this year that it wasn't getting more attention.
Yeah.
It could just be that it was an overproduced number this time, and like had they just kind of stuck with what they had originally, maybe they would have performed a little bit better.
It's that puppet. That's what happened.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy for Switzerland. I'm not the biggest fan of the song, but they got fourth, their best placement since '93, and their staging. Oh my god! From my perspective, it was the best, most like professionalish looking. I feel like I was watching like an HBO concert of someone.
It felt like they had watched what Sweden did last year, which I liked what they did, where it just felt like they completely transformed the space with Dance You Off.
Yes.
Switzerland looked at that like, we could probably do that. Why don't we do that? Instead of like doing an external selection and coming in 17th for the fourth year in a row.
Good on them.
Their performance and Czech Republic's performance like were both so good. Like just so professionally done. Excellent use of color. Like this was a very monochromatic year, which I was not expecting. And it's like, oh wow, primary colors. This is great.
Yeah, just like instead of like another all white outfit.
Yes. Yeah. The Czech song and their staging made me so happy. It's like, oh, it's like I've fallen into like my youth in a good way. Like, oh, this is like something I would see on PBS as a child.
Yeah. One of the guests at my party who like I indoctrinated this year with Eurovision stuff, she was so excited. Like she came to the party, she's like, I am here for Czech Republic. And I was like, all right, cool. So and she seemed to be very satisfied with the performance. So they were winners in our house. So
Speaking of viewing parties, how was everybody's Eurovision party this year?
Well, I can go first, I guess.
Sure.
I guess not only just because of my blog, but I want to focus so much on it. I watch it alone. If I'm not in the arena, I've gone 4 out of the last 6 years now. If I'm not in the arena, I want to be by myself with like junk food. And then there's a few friends I have that watch it and will text each other throughout. But I don't usually do a party until a week or two afterwards, where I can concentrate on being a host. And I don't have to worry about missing the show, because by then I've seen it 3 or 4 times.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. And also you don't have to worry about trying to schedule something on a Saturday afternoon, because that's a very weird time to try to do a party, especially if it's really nice weather, people aren't going to want to sit inside watching TV. So,
yeah, this is the first year where Eurovision has not also fallen on my city's local Porch Fest, where in addition to Eurovision happening is everybody has local musicians playing on their porch.
Oh, wow.
Which is lovely, but it's also very hard to be like, hey guys, I know that you guys want to walk around while it's nice and listen to live music. Why don't you come to my house for 4 hours?
Yeah.
And watch Europe award points to one another.
Yeah.
Is that not enough of a draw? What if I told you the last hour and 15 minutes is just accounting?
Well, when you put it that way, how can I say no?
Yeah.
And some of it's in French.
Yeah.
Also, the French language.
Yeah. And it's specifically from Azerbaijan. But
what if I told you that for the definition of this contest, Australia is now in Europe?
Yeah.
And Cyprus and Israel are neighbors, apparently.
Yeah.
They touch. They have a magical land border. So on my blog, Eurovision Obsession, 2011 was the first year I created notes. So I have 2 handouts. One is a brief history and some notes about this year and how the rules work. And then the other one is country profiles. So I have half a page on every single country. And so I pretty much came up with that because in 2009, I kept introducing Eurovision to the interns I was working with during my internship, and I kept having to answer the same 18 questions over and over again. So I was like, this time that's not going to be a thing. And so I tweeted it out,
yeah.
and they would just pass it amongst themselves. I'm like, oh, look at this. And then
Nice.
I can get like, oh, this person said they lived in LA? Oh, yes, they're actually American, and blah, blah, blah. Like, then we can have the more interesting conversations. Not the, how does this work again? Do they have to sing in English? I'm confused. Here.
Yeah.
Here's the
15 questions that start with why.
And so those are up for every year from 2011 to now. So
Awesome.
yeah, so if anyone wants to go get them for their, belated Eurovision parties, that's also, they're there.
Excellent. My viewing party, we had a good handful of people. We were watching on the Swedish stream, and
Same.
I don't know if you were having as many technical issues as we were having. Yeah, the stream just kept on just getting really pixelated and very low resolution. It froze up a few times. We ended up being close to 5 minutes behind the actual broadcast. I think part of that is everybody, including us, kept recommending the Swedish stream.
Yeah,
so,
that is the problem is I was really hoping to watch the Icelandic stream after watching that for the semifinals and being delighted with their English commentator.
Mm-hmm.
But then kept refreshing and had the Swedish stream up in the background as the backup, and kept refreshing the page, hoping, okay, maybe the final will be up there now, and it may have gone up eventually, but at that point it's okay, cool, we're just sticking with this stream.
Yeah.
So I watched the German one for the semis, and I started that with the grand final, and then when Germany was up of all times, it just cut out. And after I finished screaming, I went to the Icelandic one and landed on the Icelandic adaptive one. So there's a sign language interpreter.
Okay.
But it worked. It got the job done.
Yeah.
That's what matters.
Exactly. So, and I got to it quick enough that I only missed the meat of the German song, but the sister 20,000 times, so I didn't miss much.
Yeah. It got particularly difficult with the ones with the performances that were very not necessarily colorful, but where the images are changing quite a bit. So Hatari's performance was impossible to watch. We actually had to go back and get on VPN so I could pull up the YouTube clip to show people, be like, no, this was really awesome, I assure you. So and yeah, then we showed it to our guests as they were leaving. They're just okay.
At my party, the room, once they started, they were yes, this please. More of this.
With all the pixelation and stuff, there was you could not see what was happening on stage. It's but so all they're hearing is just the screaming. So
Mike, you had thoughts about the new fun televote reveal where they're moving from the bottom of the chart to the top of the chart. Share your thoughts.
Yes. So when we talked about when they announced the change to the system, we heard back on Twitter from somebody that was saying that they didn't like that we wouldn't know who the televote winner would be. It wouldn't be clear, you'd have to go back after the fact to find that out. I did not realize that Norway won the televote until checking Twitter, after the event was done. So it's okay, yeah, that does kind of stink that we don't get to know that information. I still like the way that it was done this year. I think it still introduced the necessary drama. They need to figure out how to do the final reveal, because the way that they were vamping was not good at all.
No.
They need to fly in Ryan Seacrest, get that all figured out.
Yeah.
But I think what they should do is for everybody that's below 10th place in the jury standings, do what they did where they just start at the bottom, work their way up to the top. And then when they're at the 10 remaining acts, they switch back to the old format where it's just where it's just all right. And with 7 points, and it's ooh, one of these 10 only got 7 points. And then break the Czech Republic's heart. We were very upset about that here, by the way. It's how did they only get 7 from the televote?
I don't get it.
But,
that would be lovely.
Yeah, but with this system, Norway still wouldn't have found out that they had won the televote because they weren't in the top 10 after the jury. But they would have been at the top of the scoreboard for a little bit. And I think that method would allow for a few more changes of the lead and add the drama without the weirdness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did see a mock-up of if they had done the presentation the way that they had done it the last 2 years. And I don't think it would have been as fun. I think this year, with the new method, it was more exciting. But there's still some ways that they could tweak it.
Yes.
And if there is
I love
one
your
thing that we
idea.
learned from like last summer's series of finding ways to talk about the Eurovision Song Contest when it's not running, they do like to switch it up to figure out what works. So who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. So how about those fun unplanned moments?
Oh, yeah. Any in particular you're thinking of?
Well, the one that I noticed was Iceland. I was just like, yes, this is what the plan was. Everything is according to plan. Actually, it sounds like that was not necessarily the plan, but I did like that Hatari did find a way to, in addition to what Iceland Music News had been doing for like 2 solid weeks, go, yeah, no, this is our politics, and we acknowledge the presence of this other nation.
Yeah.
I did not realize that Madonna's backup dancers were also doing a thing until the internet told me they had that performance had done a thing. In fairness, though, I had mostly just kind of gone, oh no, what's happening? And like focused on food during the Madonna performance. It was like, this is not great.
Yes. He was the Lithuanian spokesperson that threw a lot of shade at Madonna. I agree with that.
And then they had Madonna make that speech to people, and that just was sitting there going, oh boy.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm not in that room right now.
Madonna, sit down, your age is showing. Let's see if you can follow directions. Here's one of my songs from 20 years ago, which is insane to think about.
It's the 30th anniversary of Like a Prayer.
Yeah.
But that was not a great performance of it.
Oh, it was terrible.
No, it was like, and it was terrible. I'm just like, oh no, if this is the oldie, what is the new one going to sound like? And it turns out auto-tune.
Where was that for Like a Prayer? Where was the auto-tune for Like a Prayer?
Anniversary notwithstanding, I figured that she was going to go with Like a Prayer because that one is one of her less vocally challenging songs. But prove me wrong, Madonna. Prove me wrong. Everything about her presence was just so... It wasn't just uncomfortable, but just the air of condescension that surrounded it. It was just like,
and then just the main set piece. I just wanted like a handrail. I wanted like a handrail on those stairs just for everyone, because those seemed very tall.
Yes. Yeah. I like what you said about the condescension, the air of condescension, because if you compare it to 2016 when Justin Timberlake was there, he was like great. He was like, oh my god, this is so much fun. I found out about this 2 years ago. This is really cool. I'm happy to be here. Good luck, everybody. Do. Let's have a good time.
Great. Yeah. Good luck, everybody. Trolls is out this summer. Bye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you put on an amazing performance. I didn't like I wasn't a big Justin Timberlake fan until I saw him in Stockholm. I was like, oh, this is why people like him so much.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
But I mean, I think it highlighted one of the main themes of this year, where the people who were most successful at Eurovision were the people who were like just game to participate. Like Georgia's singer, he looked like he was having so much fun in his postcard.
Yes!
And it's like, oh, I like you. Or Malta's singer, like she was, even though the song didn't really suit her, she was still game to try it. Yes. And it was kind of the distinction between Malta and Ireland, where like, okay, this isn't really my style, but I'm going to give it a go. It's really cool staging. Let's try to make this work. And I think she was successful. Whereas like Ireland's singer, she did not want to play the game and really wanted to be anywhere else than where she was. And that showed, and that made a huge difference. And I think the people who, I don't think Madonna was game, whereas like Justin Timberlake, he was just like, yeah, I don't know what this thing is, but hey, it's going to be fun, you know? And
where Madonna's like, I have been paid a check.
I hope that is one of the takeaways this year, and people are paying attention to that, because it makes it more fun for everybody. Yeah. So
yeah,
Eurovision should not be a punishment.
No, it sounds like that was not our favorite interval act.
Not at all.
The approximately 47 interval acts we were treated to. What did you guys like? Like, I liked the intro of here are a bunch of people who won for our country singing their song, and also Golden Boy, because it mentions Tel Aviv, and here we are in Tel Aviv.
Yes, that was lovely. I loved it with the past winners and runners up singing each other's songs. Like that was fantastic.
That was great.
Moses' version of Fuego is on Spotify and iTunes now. And like I need Eleni's version of Dancing Lasha Tumbai.
Yes.
Like that was amazing.
Yes.
And her outfit was amazing.
Yes.
Like she's the only person who could probably pull that outfit off. So
Agreed. Yes.
good on
yeah,
you.
No, that was a very good daisy chain of people covering one another's songs.
Mhm.
And then to end it with Hallelujah. And see, she's older than Madonna. She sounded amazing still. And
Yeah.
that was, me and a friend was talking, that we think this is perhaps one of our favorite interval acts that we've seen in the last 10 years or so.
Oh wow, yeah. Yeah, I don't know if it reaches the heights of Love, Love, Peace, Peace, but it was a great idea.
I don't know, like
yeah.
those two feel like they are in the same vein because sort of like how the Oscars love celebrating the Oscars and Hollywood, Eurovision is like the interval is best when it's like celebrating itself, especially because it's been around 60 years.
Yes.
And at this point can have fun with its image.
Yes.
Because I love the things like when Norway hosted, like, here is the montage of every time we placed last.
Yes.
2010, yeah. That was great.
And admittedly, like, Israel is a bit too self-serious
Yeah.
to do a thing like that, but we did at least get that lovely medley of, like...
It was lovely.
The last thing to talk about are some of the awards that were handed out. There were the Marcel Bezençon Awards.
Yes.
Those are handed out every year. The Press Award was given to the Netherlands, which doesn't seem like much of a shock.
Nope.
The press seemed to love that song.
Yeah.
I guess
your
we are
tone
not part
there.
of the press. Yeah.
It's a
I'm
great
not
song.
bitter. No.
It's fine. It's fine, press. It's fine.
Yeah. The Artistic Award went to Australia, which I think
Yes.
is correct.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm disappointed that did not rank higher because that was just so visually stunning. Although
Yes.
the final performance, I did not think was as tight as the semifinal performance.
Agreed.
Like once it gets to like that big kind of open part at the end, it's just sort of okay, cool. Everybody is just kind of waving around at their own speed, and
Yes.
I really hope they
Yeah.
don't like knock into one another.
Also, just some of the camera shots, like they revealed that they were on poles
Yeah.
a lot earlier, and it's like maintain the illusion a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But yeah, like still loved it. And then the Composition Award went to Italy,
Yeah.
which I think is a good choice. Yeah.
I feel like Italy usually places well in this particular set of awards.
Yes.
Mhm.
They tend to send some high quality stuff, even the handful of times they don't succeed. I mean, Italy. I almost feel like Italy can do no wrong. I guess maybe you should also explain the Marcel Bezençon Awards. They're the 3 awards kind of given outside of the contest. The Press Award, as we kind of talked about, is what the press, all the accredited press, vote for their favorite entry. The Artistic Award is awarded by the commentators. They vote on the one they think is the best, artistic performance by a singer. And then the Composition Award is actually voted on by the composers of all the 41 entries. So that's how they are awarded and kind of what they represent. It's a good. It's nice to see it when countries that succeeded also get these awards that are supposed to be a bit more quality focused. It's also nice when songs that like Israel won all 3 in 2010 is so far the only country to win more than one, I think, in 1 year. So
It's a nice way to have, in addition to whoever won, to have miscongeniality of, we like these.
exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
See, so we also had the Barbara Dex Awards, or at least we have nominees for the Barbara Dex Awards for the worst dressed. If Iceland wins, I'm rioting because they did a very good job at what they were shooting for.
Yes.
All of the contestants are eligible for this dubious distinction, which is kind of unfortunate because I would totally vote for Madonna, but she is not nominated.
Yeah.
It's an interesting award, especially no, just
It's like a very Midwestern way of describing it.
I mean, it's just it's I don't know if it's necessarily mean-spirited. It can come across as mean-spirited, but
Because like it's named after Barbara Dex, who represented, I believe, Belgium in like
Yes.
91 and like sewed her own dress and did a bad job at it. So we have an award for how bad her dress was, and that feels kind of mean.
Yeah.
Yes. But it is kind of fun to do. And I already know who I'm voting
Yes.
for. So, but
I mean, on the other hand, thinking of about interesting in a Midwestern mom kind of a way, I suddenly see why Iceland might get it, because that would definitely get my mom to go, well, it was interesting. Why did you show me this video again, sweetie?
But I feel like they were like inspiring a lot of the fashion that we saw
Yes.
this year.
Yeah,
So
like between March and now, suddenly everybody was like, oh, hey, we're just going to wear a bunch of pleather now.
Yeah, and black stripes and straps and that sort of thing. I have a feeling Cyprus may be a front runner in this. At least I think that's where my vote is going.
I think mine's gonna go to Italy. Like it's either Italy or Belgium, and that
somebody at my party said it looked like Italy's luggage got lost, and he had that one Aloha shirt. And they're not wrong.
Yes.
Because of the various shirts that he was wearing during the rehearsals, that was not my pick.
No,
not
at all.
No. Yeah, but voting is open, and we'll have a link to that in the show notes. There is some form of login required, either through Facebook or Twitter, or you might be able to do it through your email, but run by songfestival.be from Belgium. So, we should know who won that in our next episode.
Yes.
And speaking of our next episode, we are taking next week off. And now that we're in the off season, we're going into every other week mode. So we'll be dropping episodes every 2 weeks rather than our Lithuanian marathon style.
In conclusion, we are tired. Leave us alone.
Yes.
Haven't we done enough for you people?
We have our next few episode topics set up, but if you have topics that you would like us to cover, please let us know. Hit us up on our social media at Eurowhat, or drop us an email. You can get to us on our website. We are looking forward to the off season and getting into the topics that are just sort of tangentially related to Eurovision, or doing deep dives into history or other topics.
That is going to do it for this episode of the Eurowhat. Thank you for listening. The Eurowhat is hosted by Ben Smith, that's me, and Mike McComb.
That's me.
Special thanks to our guest this week, André Durham. André, where can folks find you online?
You can find me at eurovisionobsession.wordpress.com. That is my blog, celebrating 10 years this year. On social media, it's at ESC Obsession. And then I have my own podcast. We go on hiatus back and forth, but it's Our Queer Experience, where we interview different queer folks in different walks of life. And then finally, I founded a Pride Festival, and I want to support more rural prides across the country and Canada and really the world. And that's PayneCountyPride.org.
Excellent. You can find us on our website at Eurowhat.com and on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Eurowhat. We'd love to hear your questions and comments and episode suggestions, because there's a whole lot of year left. You can subscribe to the Eurowhat on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or the podcast app of your choice. Rating and reviewing the podcast when you subscribe also helps other Eurovision fans find us, so please keep doing that. We'll be back in 2 weeks to try and make sense of what's new in Eurovision.
I'm sorry. 0 points.